Hey guys, welcome to another episode of IGCSE Biology Revision. I know it's been a while since I uploaded my last video and I apologize for the delay. But without further ado, we're going to continue on with what we were looking at before in terms of the big topic, animal transport. And today we're going to be looking at blood and lymphatic vessels. So if you want to have a quick read of what we're going to be looking at today, and we'll begin the video. The first thing we're going to be looking at is the structures of arteries, veins, and capillaries and how it relates to their function. So arteries have thick muscular walls with elastic fibers and fibrous tissue, and this is quite important because blood is carried at quite high pressures in the arteries just because it's the first blood vessels that make contact once the blood is pumped out from the heart. So arteries always take blood away from the heart, and therefore they need thick muscular walls in order to kind of preserve themselves or kind of protect themselves in such high pressure conditions, and they must have elastic fibers and fibrous tissue just for the added flexibility and the strength. And so the arteries have relatively narrow lumens which kind of expand as blood pulsates through, and that's important because that expansion and contraction as the blood flows through evens out the pulsation and therefore maintaining blood pressure. And valves are absent in arteries because arteries, as I've said before, carry blood at high pressure, and therefore you don't really need to worry about the backflow. Now, veins have thin walls in comparison with little muscle or elastic fibers, and that's quite obvious because blood is carried at low pressures in the veins, and veins have large lumens, and that's also quite self-explanatory because a large lumen acts to reduce the resistance of blood flow. So it reduces the resistance to blood flow going through the veins, and if you'd imagine if the lumen was quite small, then the blood would have a hard time kind of traveling through it, so that would not be the ideal situation there. And valves, we talked about this before. It prevents the backflow of blood in the veins. And capillaries are blood vessels that are one cell thick and have no muscle or elastic fibers, and capillaries are mainly used for the diffusion of nutrients and wastes that get exchanged between the blood and the surrounding tissues. And the lumen size is approximately 1 diameter of a red blood cell, and that's important because red blood cells kind of squeeze through these capillaries, and that makes diffusion much more efficient and easier just because of the close proximity between the red blood cells and the surrounding tissues that it's kind of trying to exchange materials with, or nutrients or wastes or whatever. But and valves are not present in capillaries, although it's carrying blood at low pressures. First of all, because it's so small and probably wouldn't even have any space to fit the valves in the first place. But second of all, because capillaries are so small, it has a distinct flow of blood through it. So it's going to be unidirectional anyway because of its small diameter. So valves are really not necessary here. So if we think about the sequence of blood vessels, we've got blood getting pumped from the heart, goes into the arteries, and then to the capillaries, and then to the veins, and then back to the heart. Now, in reality, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So you've got the heart, and it pumps blood into the arteries, and then the arteries branch off into arterioles, which then connect to capillaries, which then connect back to venules, and eventually form the veins, and then takes the blood back to the heart. So we need to think about why we have this intermediate structures, arterioles and venules in the first place. So arterioles are important because it can constrict and dilate to regulate blood flow. Now what I mean by that is, so you've got the arteries here, and it kind of branches out into arterioles, and these arterioles are able to constrict itself or dilate itself. Now let's say you're walking along the streets, and then you find yourself come across a lion. Alright, okay, so your instant reaction would be that adrenaline pumping kind of fight or flight response, and that's important because when you think about it, blood is flowing through our whole body at all times, and obviously that's important because we can't not have blood flowing through, for example, our digestive system, or else that would be a problem. But in a situation, given that you've just encountered a lion, okay, I think your body would probably much rather the blood going through your legs or your leg tissue in order to run faster than digest a little more of your lunch that you've had 2 or 3 hours ago. Okay, so that's when arterioles come in, because arterioles will dilate in connection to your legs, but constrict in connection to your digestive system. So therefore, more blood is going to flow to your leg muscles in order to help you run faster, pretty much, and get the hell out of there. So so arterioles in that regard are quite important. And venules, once again, they connect back to the veins, carrying all the blood that pass from the arterioles to the capillaries. And we've got another form of vessels called shunt vessels, which connect an artery directly to the veins without any capillary kind of connection. And these can also control blood flow through constriction and dilation. And this is just a diagrammatic representation of that. So naming the blood vessels, anything regarding the heart, watch my previous video, we've covered that before. In regards to the lungs, if you're carrying if you're carrying blood from the heart to the lungs, we call that pulmonary artery. If we're carrying blood from the lungs to the heart, we call that pulmonary vein. Remember, artery always from the heart, and vein always to the heart. And same thing here with the kidneys, except just replace pulmonary with renal, because that's what we use to describe kidneys scientifically. But yeah, and then we're going to just take a look at the lymphatic system, and this will be covered in much more detail in the next video, so you don't have to worry too much about that now. But lymphatic vessels simply carry a fluid called lymph, and we've got lymph nodes, for example, the axillary lymph nodes and whatnot, and these produce lymphocytes, which we will talk more about in the immunity section of the syllabus. But this is just basically a diagram of our lymphatic system, and it's obviously different from our blood system, but just keep that in mind, and can read up on it if you want to. It probably will make your life a little bit easier when you try to understand the content of our next syllabus topic. Okay, cool. So once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.